Good evening. Mm, Sorry, that started up faster than I thought it would. How are we all doing this evening? I'm a little bit late getting going today. My best friend stopped in for a minute on her way through, and so I had to kind of rush her out the door, but I made it. So tonight, I wanted to talk about the injustice system. That is my big topic. That is what's touched my life most recently. Let's see. Hi, Sandra and Richard, if you're still here. Thanks for hanging in there. I had to go to court last Monday with my son, who's now 18, but he was 17-year-old at the time of his charging. So we had to go for his pre-trial. You know, I've always believed in the system. I kind of had the system pounded into me. I always grew up terrified of authority. Um, just, I always did what I was told. I made the perfect little sheep, honestly. There's Richard. Hi, Richard. If I if I wasn't so smart, I would have been a perfect sheep. But there's too many questions I have, and I tell you what, I'm not afraid of authority anymore. Uh, I started to really come into my own when I met my husband. There's a lot to be said for having backup. So when you can suddenly have your own opinion, and if somebody has a problem with it, you get backup. It's easier to have your opinion, you know? So I was always really afraid of authority and what authority would do and getting arrested. And oh, there was so much trouble that I didn't get in because I was like, what are you guys doing? Someone's going to call the cops. We're going to be in so much trouble. I was like the biggest chicken. I never did anything. I never got in trouble or anything like that. And my son is just like me. He doesn't he doesn't do things, you know. He has integrity and he stands behind what he does and says, and he's not one to be pushed around. And he doesn't have the same fear of authority that I had when I was a kid because he's always had me. And he's learned through his life. His mother is a force to be reckoned with. There are grown ass men that turn tail and haul it when they see me coming because they're like, oh dear God, here she comes. It's like the angel of death descending on you because I don't take shit, but I'm not a bully. You know, I just, I won't be bullied. That's what it is. You can't push me around anymore. So, people don't like to deal with me. The teachers and the principals and all that crap, they never like to deal with me. And this was the first time that I have had to deal with the justice system in relation to one of my children. Kevin was at this festival, and it's a big thing. They serve alcohol down there. It's at this lake, and it happens over a 3-day weekend, and there's people that camp down there. It's this big thing. Well, he was down there with a couple of friends. They were just there visiting. And uh, he was in the parking lot, and some people coming by, he knew a couple, and they stopped and they were talking. And a couple of these guys that were in this group were drinking. They had cans of beer. And as they finished their beer, they set them in the bed of my son's truck. Now, my son's only 17 at this point, but he's driving his father's truck, and the truck is parked, so it's not open container. He's not traveling with it or anything. And it's in a festival. It's in an open parking lot where there's people going by with cans of beer on them. But all these kids, there's like probably 6 other people standing there. And cop pulls up. Kevin turns around for a second to look at the cop, turns back, all his friends are gone. All these kids hightailed it the second this cop pulled up, and my kid was the only one that didn't run. Why didn't he run? Nothing to hide. Why run? Hi, sir. How are you? No, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, have a nice day. I mean, he wasn't doing anything. So the cop pulls up and he's like, have you been drinking? And Kevin's like, no. And cop says, I don't believe you. Kevin's like, give me a breathalyzer. And the cop's like, well, I don't think we need to go that far with it, but I think you're hiding some stuff in this truck. And Kevin's like, I'm not hiding anything. My truck is locked up. I'm not in the truck. I'm not drinking. You can breathalyze me. Cop proceeds to search his truck, makes him unlock it, and searches his truck. Now, right before all of these kids ran, while they were all still standing there hanging out, they all, well, not they all, but a couple of them threw backpacks in the front of the truck. Hey, dude, can we keep these in your truck while we walk around? Yeah, that's fine. So Kevin's got a bag in there, and a couple of friends have a bag in there, and then this other guy he doesn't even know, they all just threw their stuff in the front of the truck and he locked it in there so they didn't all have to carry their stuff around. Cop starts searching these bags, starts giving my kid the rundown. Is there anything in here? Am I going to find anything in here? If I find anything in here, I'm going to haul you in. You better tell me what's in here. And Kevin's standing there telling this guy, these are not all my backpacks. These have several different people's things in them, and I don't know what all they have in these bags. Well, cop ends up finding this, it's a can. It's an A&W root beer can, and it's not a real can. The top of it unscrews, and it's weighted to feel like a full can of root beer. You wouldn't know the difference. And inside of it is where there was not even 2 grams of pot and a little grinder shoved in the center of this thing. Kevin recognizes this can, and the whole time, this cop keeps telling him, I understand these aren't your things, but, if you know of anything that's in here, if you don't tell me, we're going to have trouble. You're going to be in trouble. You better tell me what you know, or you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So when Kevin sees this thing, he's like, well, I know what that is, and shows the cop what it is. Stupidest thing he could have ever done. Of course, the cop is now busting him. Oh, cop even laughed at him and told him, you never should have told me what that was. I never would have found that on my own. Takes him down to their little station that they have, their home base thing at this fair carnival thing. Calls us, his parents, on the phone and says, I have your son here. He's drunk, stoned, and visibly lethargic. You need to come pick him up. We panic because that's not Kevin. That's really unlike him, and I'm immediately concerned. So we hop in the car, we haul ass to get down there. It's still 25 minutes away. I mean, it's a ways away. So we hurry up, we finally get there, pull in the parking lot. Pretty sure we're in the right place, but we're not completely positive. We're looking for a parking spot. We're looking for Kevin's truck, looking for something. There's Kevin. We go over, what's going on? He's like, I don't fucking know. These guys are assholes. I don't know what the hell their problem is. They searched the damn truck. They found a little bit of pot. They're having a fit about it. They accused me of being drunk, but they wouldn't give me a breathalyzer test. And he's irritated. And he's standing in the middle of this parking lot with the keys in his hand. So we're like, what the hell? The cops called us and they told us that he was drunk and stoned and lethargic. They made him sound like he was falling all over himself. And it turns out that he's completely 100% sober and pissed off about this. And they didn't even detain him. They took his driver's license and told him, if you leave, you'll be in trouble. So don't leave, but here's your keys. We figure that's child endangerment. Like, what the hell is that? So now he's got to go through this stupid They sent somebody for a diversion program. They're like, well, you can avoid the court costs, you can avoid all of that, you just admit that you did it and we'll put you through this program, and you have to do some community service, et cetera, but you don't have a record. It won't go on your record. So it's very appealing. Like, oh, no record. Okay. Well, we decided I don't like the admission of guilt. I don't like the admission of guilt, especially when they really don't have anything. They shouldn't have been searching them in the first place. In no way is having 2 empty beer cans in the back of a truck probable cause to search a vehicle. Like, he wasn't even in the truck. And what about the people that ran away? Oh, and then one of his friends ended up coming back and like, dude, what happened to you? And was talking to the cop, and the cop ran his ID and was like, hey, kid, you got 2 warrants out for you in 2 different states. You better get in your car and get out of here. But my kid has never been in trouble, has never done anything, and he's being detained, and he's being charged, and he's got to go through some stupid fucking diversion program and all, when finding 2 grams of pot, if they'd have found that on him 4 months after that, it's literally less than a speeding ticket. That's what they told us. Well, if he'd only been a couple months older when this happened, it's less than a speeding ticket. It's like, it's a minor misdemeanor. It's nothing. But because it's a kid, and I didn't, my kid was bullied. This cop bullied him and mocked him and just like harassed him. I don't know. I was so mad. So Monday, we had to go for this pretrial thing where we meet with the assistant prosecutor, and I ended up going like full nuclear. Like my husband and son looked like they wanted to climb under the bench to hide from shrapnel because I freaking went off. I was totally keeping my cool. I was totally cool with it. Because I was like, any person with any kind of logic in their head is going to let this go. It's pre-trial. This is the point at which that the prosecutor decides if they're actually going to go on with this and prosecute, you know? And so the whole way there, I'm like, oh, just let us get somebody that's got some freaking common sense, that's got some logic, that sees, I mean, we're trying to figure out when Kevin's going to do his community service, because he works 6 days a week, every week. He works 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then 9 to 3 on Saturday. Like, this kid is a decent kid. He's a decent, hardworking, functioning person who does not deserve to be bullied and picked on in this way. And he's really getting screwed over, and it's not right, you know? I think that a normal person could freaking see that. Not this lady. This lady pulls out the police officer's statement. Let me read to you the police officer's statement, she says, all matter of fact. And she starts reading this shit. And I start to kind of chuckle. According to this cop, okay, are you ready for this? Because this is how any 17-year-old would act, right? According to this cop, he pulls up, sees Kevin. Hey, you been drinking? Kid says, no, I ain't been drinking. Cop says, you doing anything else? Kid says, no, I ain't doing anything else. You can check my truck if you want. Then the kid goes over, picks up his bag, comes over and starts emptying his bag on the hood of the cop car. And then the cop noticed that there was one pocket that he seemed to be hiding. And so the cop was like, what you hiding there, kid? And Kevin was like, nothing, sir. That's just personal stuff, and I don't really think that you should see it. And the cop's like, well, I'm going to need to see in that pocket there. I swear to God, this is what's in this cop's fucking statement. So the cop takes the bag from Kevin, who tries to hide it behind him, because a 17-year-old is hiding drugs is like, I don't have anything. you know? So, cop takes the bag, finds the thing, knows what it is, busts him, and that's how this goes down. Oh, and in the beginning, he actually admits that he saw the group of kids scatter and that my kid was the only kid that continued standing there. But he didn't bring up the kid with the warrants. I wonder why. So as she's reading this crap, and I know that this did not go down like this. My son told me what went down, and my kid is not a liar. He's just not. I know what he does. I know what he does when he goes out with his friends, what he does when he parties. I know what he has on him all the time. I know how much money he has on him all the time. He doesn't hide shit from me because I am not that mom. I do not freak out. I need to know the truth so I can have your back, so I can bail you out, so I can, find the loopholes. Mom doesn't lie to you. You don't lie to mom. That's just how it works here. Mom doesn't freak out. Mom protects you from dad's shrapnel if dad's going to freak out. Like, mom's got your back. That's the lesson here. So Kevin's not lying to me. And who acts like that? My kid does not act like that. Oh, no, you can search my truck if you want, officer. And then brings the one bag that he knows has something in it over and then empties all but that. I mean, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. That's how a 3-year-old hides things. That's how the 3 or 4-year-old that you're playing old maid with holds the cards and the old maid sticks up further than the other. Like they think they're somehow like subconsciously convincing you to pick that card. Like, seriously, this is not how a 17-year-old hiding drugs acts. That's stupid. So she's reading this and I'm like, excuse me. At what point am I allowed to dispute what this officer has in his official report? And she's like, well, what do you mean dispute it? And I'm like, well, that's not what happened. And she's like, well, according to the officer, it is. And I'm like, well, that just makes it his word against his word. And she just kind of looks at me and she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, okay, isn't there a dash cam in every cop car? If this supposedly happened, it should be completely captured on a dash cam. Why don't we have evidence available here right now? I mean, you're basically saying that this cop is saying this is what happened. My son is saying that's not what happened, and my son is wrong because the cop is the authority figure. And she just looks at me and she's like, cops don't lie. And I laughed. Like, it was like an involuntary burp. Like, she's like, swear to God, straight face. She's like, cops don't lie. And I was like, yeah. And my husband looks at me and she's like, I've been working with police officers for 20 years. And I'm like, I know, so have I. She's like, my husband is a police officer. And I'm like, good for you. Cops lie. It happens. Now, are all cops bad? No, but people lie. They do. People lie. They cover their ass. They do things they're not supposed to do. They take liberties they're not supposed to have. This is like basic human behavior. Cops aren't special. Well, this is considered to be what happened. The officer's statement is what happened in this instance. And I bet you if we drug tested your son right now, he would piss a dirty test. And I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with what happened 6 months ago and whether or not this cop is telling the truth about it? And she's like, can you prove that this statement is false? And I'm like, did you just ask me if I could prove that that statement was false? And she's like, well, I don't think I stuttered. And I turned to Kevin and I said, that means that you're guilty until proven innocent. That means that that cop's word is going to be taken over yours no matter what. So the next fucking time a cop pulls up and you're standing there with 6 kids, you better fucking run with them. Run. And she's like, you're a terrible mother. That's a terrible lesson to teach your son. I said, I'm not the one teaching him that lesson, lady. You are. You just told him that that cop's word is going to be taken over his no matter what. That's not right. You just taught him you don't tell the truth. You don't take the cop's word for it. You don't automatically trust him on faith that he's going to do the right thing, because when it gets down to it, his word is going to be over your word, and you should have fucking ran in the first place. And she kept saying that. That's a terrible lesson to teach your child. And I'm like, it is a terrible lesson. Why are you teaching my child this lesson? And she was just, oh my God. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm done here. Finish up your paperwork, do what you need to do, because we're done here. I'm done talking to you. And she gets all high and mighty and she's like, I'll say when you're done here, you don't get to decide that. And I said, no, I'm telling you, we're guilty. We can't prove we're innocent. So do up your paperwork, whatever the fuck you need to do, and get us out of here, because we're done. Fine, he's guilty. Let's be done with this. And she was all, and then she started writing so hard, I swear she was scraping into the freaking table. And then my husband, voice of reason over in the corner, starts talking very soothingly and asking her questions about shit. And then she immediately dropped the attitude and would look at him and talk and talk. And then she'd glance over at me and kind of scowl and look back at him. But it was absurd. She just, her main defense was, cops don't lie, so your kid must be lying. What the fuck kind of defense is that? What kind of justice system is that? The cop wasn't even there. We were convicted on the cop's word. I mean, we weren't convicted. It was pre-trial, but it was like he was guilty because some guy that wasn't even there said so, and nobody cared any different. I am infuriated by this. I really am. And I literally said those things. And I literally have told Kevin since then, you fucking run. They can't shoot you in the back. I mean, this day and age, who fucking knows? But I mean, hey, kid, fucking run. Don't stand there and wait for them to decide whether or not you're doing something wrong or not, because clearly, even if you're not doing something wrong, it can easily be pinned on you. You can easily be taken advantage of or bullied into shit. It just, oh my God, I was so infuriated. So we're doing this stupid diversion program, admitting guilt, and doing this stupid diversion program because the only alternative is to actually go forward with a trial for something that is less than a freaking speeding ticket. But we would have to go forward with an actual trial. And if found guilty, he would actually have a drug charge on his record. And it would be his juvenile record, which I'm not even sure how much that even counts, which you're an adult, especially something so minor and stupid. But I don't want my kid to have that. And if it went that well with the assistant prosecutor, if they were that willing to look at the situation and see what actually happened, then I was pretty confident that I was just going to be asking for trouble, barking up a larger tree. Anyway. So that's like been my big freaking drama. I came home on Monday after that happened, and I was so furious. I almost went live right there and just I needed a few days to get some perspective because, oh my God, I was seriously breathing fire. But honestly, I mean, I have an instance of my own from a while back, but I once had my life threatened in writing. And when I went back to where it came from, which was a public place, the person that wrote these things was in this public place because he worked there. And when I walked in the place and confronted him, he, did his usual dodgy, I ain't doing anything, it's all you're crazy thing, like psychopaths do. And about an hour later, the car I was in was pulled over, and I was taken out of the car and arrested and charged with disorderly conduct because I said fuck in the gas station. So yeah, I don't think I know anybody actually off the top of my head who has ever had a run-in of some sort with a legal system and got anything out of it, like had it go their way, or where justice was an actual thing. Currently, I know somebody firsthand, a person I actually know in real life. I know somebody directly who is currently serving a life sentence for a murder that they did not commit. I mean, okay, I don't know that they didn't commit it. I wasn't there. But I do know that the only evidence that they were convicted on was completely circumstantial. Completely circumstantial. And their appeals are being denied. Oh, and here's a fun fact. The person that they supposedly killed had actually received a mail bomb in the mail, a few years prior to that. And the person who had sent that mail bomb 1 month before said person was murdered, the person that sent them a mail bomb had been released from prison. But because when interviewed, he said, I would have to be crazy to do that. They believed him and decided that he probably didn't do it. And so now she is serving a life sentence and having her appeals denied because wrong place, wrong time. She just happened to be in an area where it might have potentially been possible that she could have. And so you done it. You done did it. And one of the things that I've seen on Netflix recently that was really good along the same lines is Fear of 13. That is a really, really good movie. If you're into that sort of thing, it has absolutely nothing to do with the number 13. But Fear of 13 is about this guy who basically he was busted for something that he should have been busted for. He was busted for something that he was doing. And in order to get out of it, he told a lie. And his lie ended up lining up with something else. And he got convicted for a murder that he didn't commit. And even when DNA testing came out and it was possible to get DNA because he was convicted on blood type alone, even after the DNA came out, he was unable to be able to prove that he was innocent. It's a hell of a story. It was really good. It took me months to get my husband to watch it because he's like, it sounds stupid. Well, not when I told him about it. I mean, I think he stopped listening at Fear of 13. It's like, it's a really dumb name for a movie. I didn't want to watch it because of the title. It sounds like a horror movie or something, and I'm just not into it. But victimless crimes should be a ticket, not kidnapped in jail. I don't even think they should be a ticket. Why is speeding a crime? I mean, okay, I get it. But unless you actually do hurt someone, get pulled over, have your time wasted, get points on your license, get your license taken away, no more driving for you. But I don't necessarily think that a monetary punishment should be issued. But even at the same time, I mean, that's a language that people hear. You can take someone's freedom, but don't take their money. They need their money. They'll fight you for their money. And yeah, prison is slave labor, Sandra. You're right. Because the prison system we have now is special. I mean, in America specifically, because I don't know what's anywhere else. So I'm not speaking for anybody else. If anybody knows anything about anybody else and wants to talk about it, hit me up. I'll send you a link. Come on here and talk. But in America, we have this privately owned prison system, and these these people actually get more money. The fuller capacity that they can keep their prisons, the more money that they get. And that's why people are being convicted for the stupidest things. I can't believe that people can get multiple year sentences for selling marijuana. Like, what the hell kind of shit is this? How stupid that something that can potentially grow wild in my backyard, and I'm not even talking about marijuana, I'm actually talking about mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. I have so many mushrooms that grow around my house like every kind of mushroom. I got those hen of the woods that grow on the sides of trees, and a whole bunch more that some of them I'm like 99% sure are edible, but I know that eating the wrong mushroom can, like, you're dead. I mean, I've heard stories, and I don't even know if they're true, but I've heard stories about people getting autopsies, and there was undigested mushrooms in their stomach that killed them before they were even completely digested, because they can be that poisonous and kill you that quickly. So until there is a expert that can walk me through my yard and say, eat that, don't eat that, I'm not picking mushrooms. So all you men in black out there, don't come rushing down here because I'm tripping in my yard, because I'm not. But it seems stupid to me that these things can just grow naturally. They're just there, and it's naughty to touch them. If you touch it, you can go to jail. We will waste time and effort and resources on stopping you from eating mushrooms out of your backyard. What is that? What kind of justice is that? Our whole system is completely screwed. And I don't hate cops. I'm not a cop hater. Um, I have honestly, genuinely worked with cops for the last 20 years. My husband has worked very closely with cops through his whole career. And so I know cops. And when your husband knows a cop, and then your kid goes to school with his kids, and you're in the PTA with his wife, I mean, I do know cops that are genuinely kind, compassionate, decent people that wanted to be cops because they wanted to protect their children. They wanted to protect the people in their neighborhood. They wanted to be a source of strength for the people around them. They wanted little kids to see them coming and go, hi. I remember waving at cops when I was little, cops and people driving ambulances and trains. Like, all of these people were really interesting, and kids like them, you want to be a hero. But then other people join because they're, 4'11" and have inferiority complexes and want to go boss other people around. I mean, not that all short people have issues. Don't generalize me or my words. It'll get you and me in trouble. Oh, let me see who's out here. Sarah Pinkstone. How can something naturally be a crime? Nice to see you, and nice to have you agree with me. I like that. But no, feel free to disagree with me if you wish. I am just teasing. And Chris Hayes. Hello, Chris Hayes. Oh, so, okay, you're short, but do you have an inferiority complex? Do you run around being a jerk to people just because you're short to make up for it? Maybe that's why I'm so nice. I'm so tall. I feel so much above everybody else that I feel, obligated to take pity, right? I don't know. It says I had 9 viewers. Yay for 9 viewers on a channel that's not even mine. My stupid thing doesn't get lifted. Speaking of injustice, my stupid ban doesn't get lifted until May 25th. 3 months for asking where the crisis actors go when they're not crisis acting. I mean, they make it sound like that's not even a real thing. I mean, and in one of the last hangouts, we found out that there's actual sites that you can go to sign up to be a crisis actor. Like, this is the thing. It's happening. Justice is messed up. A lover, not a fighter. We love the lovers. I like the lovers more than the fighters. It's nice to have a fighter when you need some ass kicking, though. But I definitely prefer to hang out and love the people around me. So anyway, I didn't even send out any invites for this. I don't know. It's weird getting this together on 2 different channels. So Joel's not going to sneak in on me today because he didn't get a link. Nobody got any links. I probably won't even stay on too awful long. I just really wanted to talk about that. That really, really made me mad. I couldn't believe they did that to him. It was, I mean, it's completely crap. It was completely crap that she actually said the shit out loud and didn't see anything wrong with it. She didn't see anything wrong in taking one word over the other simply because one was a police officer and the other was a kid. It didn't. It just, that doesn't go completely against everything that we supposedly have. I just said supposedly. That tells me I shouldn't be live, honestly, supposedly. Supposedly isn't a word. Supposedly. All these freedoms that, our soldiers are supposedly getting for us. I wish our soldiers would stick around and hook me up with freedom and justice. A little bit of justice against these people that just think they run the freaking world. They think they can do whatever they want. It seems so messed up. It seems so messed up to bust so many kids for so much stupid stuff. Why would you want to take somebody that's not even an adult yet and send them out into the world with this attitude against the system already? He wasn't even 18 years old and he's already getting screwed by the system that's supposedly there to protect him, that he's supposedly supposed to love. You're supposed to love the system. It's to help you. Justice for All by Metallica sums it all up well. We have serious problems here in the UK too. Really serious problems. Hewing Enterprises. That's a name I haven't seen around here before. Greetings, new friend. And you're absolutely right. Metallica pretty much rocks it out. There's so much. It's so funny when you get into things like movies and television shows and music. It's amazing how much truth you find in these things, real truth. And yet we look at some of us do. Some people look at every actor as the enemy and every musician is the enemy, and because they are part of the system, but yet they do put out the truth. And it makes me wonder how they themselves compromise that. They know what they're doing. They know when they're preaching truth, and then they know when they're helping lead you along. Because Crow 777 did an excellent show or two on the music in the 50s and 60s that shaped the whole generation after. Well, I suppose they were the baby boomers, weren't they? Baby boomers are what the people born after the war. I can't remember how many years it is, but it was the baby boomers that did Woodstock and all of that stuff. They're the hardest ones to convince that the Earth is flat because they watched NASA. They watched NASA form and go, ooh, look what we can do. Ah, space. Ooh, we're on the moon. Oh. They're like, there's no stars, but watch us hit this golf ball. Oh. But they were, I think, honestly, the beginning of the most programming that happened to this. I almost think of us all as the same generation, like everybody that's been here since the 50s, from the 50s on, because we're all part of this age in this civilization where we're being attacked. We're being psychically attacked and physically attacked, spiritually attacked. Like, we're being attacked on every possible angle and dumbed down, and it all started around then. And a lot of it started in the 50s with the music. But how much of it was truth? It was, these people didn't love these artists for no reason. They were singing about peace and love and kindness and things like that. We were protesting wars, and it was put forth like it was a good thing. Like it was all a good thing, and it wasn't. because that also ushered in the free love movement. That ushered in, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And that's not necessarily a good thing either, because now we got Miley Cyrus crawling around on the floor in a diaper, beckoning grown men to, participate in pedophilia and crap. And it's all, and so many artists that we have now are the children of artists that we've respected from the past. And all I can see is the Matrix, man. It's like you start with one thing, and once you start talking about it and looking at it, it branches off into this giant yucky thing, and every single thing is connected, right down to the justice system, right down to the ones that were, among the first during protesting Vietnam, among the first police that were trying to stop the protesters. They were some of the first ones that were stopping free speech and stopping that from happening. You can't have that opinion. You have to shut up. But I think that it was just led opposition. They infiltrated. The best way to deal with the opposition is to lead it. And so they were leading us at the same time. And man, did they lead us. They led us so beautifully well. I mean, even to this day, I love the 80s. I loved the 80s. I grew up through the 80s, and they were amazing. And I love 80s music, and there's such a nostalgia to it for me. But at the same time, mixed in with all of that, I've got Reagan, and I've got the Cold War, and I've got, I watched the Challenger blow up, where nobody died and everybody's still alive and, teaching in universities and everything currently. But it's all connected. Everything's connected. And it's like there's the same handful of people at the end of every rabbit hole. And it's not even a handful, it's a big handful, but still, I don't know. And I get to rambling because, one topic to the next, to the next, to the next. Sarah Allspa, hello, greetings, and salutations. Anybody want to come play with me? I'm just sitting here rambling at this point. My friend found a Kmart that was going out of business and they had all their wine selection on sale. And so she bought me a couple bottles of my favorite wine because it was really, really super cheap. But I'm not rambling because I'm drunk, because this was my first glass and it was only to here. I've only had, 4 or 5 ounces. Just one glass. I was like, well, it's Sunday, but can't turn down free wine. Anywho, you watch me a lot on Chromecast, and you can't. I assume that is supposed to be comment. Oh, Chardonnay. Chardonnay's too sweet for me. I'm a Pinot Grigio girl, or a something Blanc. Something Blanc is usually dry enough that I like that. But I don't know. I need someone to come on here and play with me. See, comments. I'm good. You know what's neat? It's not neat. It's really stupid, and I'm going to tell you about it because, I can. I used to be like this major grammar Nazi, and I'm still very picky about words, especially because I've realized how much power words have. But really, Pinot is not sweeter than Chardonnay. I wonder what brand you're drinking. I drink Sutter Home. But God, I lost track of what I was saying. Oh, I was a grammar Nazi. So words have power, and so I'm really picky about my words. But I've learned to chill, like to not be such a judgmental twat, because I get really judgmental twat when grammar's funky. Like, oh, it irritates me. But since I do a lot of crap on here, it's so much easier to, and then I blah, 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 blah. And you have to enunciate, and you sound like a robot, and you sound pretty stupid generally. But I don't have to thumb type at all. And I like that. Talk to text has the worst grammar ever. And I'll say something and send it and then reread it and then edit and go back and change because I can't stand it being messed up. And I have learned to look at Facebook like everybody is using talk to text. And I do imagine that a lot of people are because it's there and it's easy to use. But so these people that use this awful, horrendous grammar, I'm like, oh, talk to text. I know, I do that, yeah. But it's probably not. They're probably typing it. But anyway, Sutter, Sutter, home. And I don't even drink that much of it anymore. I'll tell you what, people say prayer doesn't work. Prayer works. There's a quick, completely off the wall story for you. I wanted to stop drinking. I wasn't even drinking that much. I was just drinking really regularly. Like 2 glasses of wine, not that much. But when it's every single night, it's like, you probably shouldn't do that. It's probably not a good idea. You're probably headed down a bad road. And do that for a little while. And it's like, I need to stop doing that. But I get so stressed out and I don't take any pharmaceuticals. I'm not on any antidepressants or anything like that. So what's a glass of wine or two? Well, I read this this article about being like blackout drunk or just really drunk, being personality altering, and it actually potentially opening you up to demon possession. And it kind of freaked me out because I got to thinking about all the people that I've ever been around, and people do things. They say that when you drink, you become more of who you are. And I believe that that's true to a point. By the time I'm done with this glass of wine, I am the most inhibited, not the most verbally sound, but uninhibited version of myself. Although I'm pretty uninhibited on a regular basis because I tend to not have a filter and I say what I think because my intention is never to offend and I try not to say things in a snarky way. So if you take offense, it's probably your problem, not mine. To be really frank about it. But that's what I mean by not having a filter, just to say that way. Some people might be offended by that I don't care if I offend them. And it's like, well, if you're choosing to look for offense and everything, then I'm going to offend you because I say what I think. So by the time I'm done with this glass, I care even less and I will just say things. But I have been around people that do things out of character, that have gotten really drunk and cheated on their mate, a mate that they really truly loved, and we knew them as a couple. We knew they were in love. They weren't even having any problems or anything, but there was a bad position, wrong place, wrong time, and one of them was really, really, really drunk and did something really stupid. And then in the morning, generally speaking, you don't even remember having done that really stupid thing that you wish you hadn't done. So technically, you can't even prove that you did it unless there are pictures because you don't remember it. And it seems like it is entirely possible that there is something near you that could potentially slip in and take control. And I have a hard time with stuff like that because it's like there are certain things I believe in and then certain things that sound kind of crazy, and that sounds kind of crazy. You know, you think all exorcist, head spinning, green vomit, what have you. But if any of you watching now has never seen Rory, Orb's Realm, you have to check him out. Rory is so awesome. He's got this one room in his house where he takes these videos, and there are just these little light things that zip around him, and they go this way and up and and then change and come down, and some of them are really bright and some aren't. It's like that has served to further solidify my personal belief that there is all kinds of stuff around us that we don't know is there, that it's interacting with us. It's just in a different frequency or, what have you. So if there are light beings and positive things around us, it stands to reason that there are dark beings and negative things around us too. And so it's really not that far-fetched that something that wanted to take control of you, like I said about the cops, I don't even know if I said it here. I say it in general, though. It seems weird to me that a person would want authority over other people. Usually when a person wants authority over another person, they don't deserve it. And I kind of think the same thing about this whole drinking, possession, extra spiritual thing. It's like if something wants to take over you, it's not going to be, something happy. It's not going to be a good thing. It's going to be something that really doesn't deserve control of you. And so I have been praying about alcohol. I wanted to want to drink less, but because, life in general stresses me out and I'm not on pharmaceuticals that help, it's like, I want a couple glasses of wine. I want this in my life. So I prayed about it. I started taking my walks through the woods and just praying out loud for help. Make it less enjoyable. Give me a hangover. I don't get hangovers. Make drinking unappealing to me. Make me not want to do it. I want to stop. Make me not want to do it so it's easier to stop. And I know that sounds so stupid. It's like, give me will. Give me the willpower to do this. Because I want that for me. I want that for my family. I want that for my check balance. I want that. But I'm having a hard time getting there. And right away, I started feeling like crap when I drank the night before. Just a couple of glasses, 2 or 3 glasses of wine, and I would wake up feeling really in the morning. And I hated it. I hated it. I mean, in the morning, it was like, oh my God. And I'm like, you asked for this. And I'm like, I know, it's good. Keep doing it. I hate it. Keep it going. And I've hardly drank. I'm hardly drinking at all. I mean, I do enjoy the glass of wine here and there, a couple nights a week. Like I'm drinking what, two nights a week, maybe 2 glasses of wine, and that's it. I'm good. No more than that. The third glass of wine will give me the headache. The third glass of wine makes me feel like shit in the morning. Makes me wake up in the middle of the night feeling yucky, don't want to eat, like, ugh. So, and all I had to do was ask. Just ask. Help me. Help me in a way that I can comprehend that I'm being helped, and in a way that is going to make me for real take this fucking seriously, to really back away and because I want this. I really want this. And so prayer works. It really does. I've witnessed such miracles in my life, and it's that might not seem like a miracle to somebody else, but I have an addictive personality. It's really easy for me to go down a really bad path. And I know that about myself, and I feel honored to know that about myself. I feel proud to admit it, not hide it, because it's going to save my life. So, yeah, prayer works. You want something? Pray about it. For real. Go out in nature and just talk. Just talk like you're talking to your best friend and asking for advice or asking for help or whatever. And I have never failed to get some kind of answer. Never. Even simple stuff. I asked the most simple things. I asked yesterday, I was like, I wish I knew what the actual definition of astrotheology is. just kind of off the top of my head, I wasn't sitting in front of my computer. I was doing something. I couldn't stop and Google it. And I was like, what is the official definition of astrotheology? Astrotheology is the study of um, religions that make the sun, they personify the sun. Astrotheology is the personification of the sun and the study therein. I know this because the thing that I downloaded last night to listen to today while I was doing my chores this morning just happened to be somewhere in there. He started saying that. It's like, well, the actual definition of astrotheology is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I just asked that question yesterday. And there it is. Like, and it seems like the more you find that groove, the more you spend time talking to it, acknowledging that it's there. Hey, thanks for being there. Thanks for having my back. I appreciate you, and just being happy about what's coming into your life and the things around you. It seems like the answers come faster. And I don't know. The Bible says, seek and ye shall find, and I have yet to have that proven wrong to me. Oh, I missed a whole bunch during my babbling. Rory's great. Yes, Rory is wonderful. I love Rory. He's such a friendly kind of guy. Like, he's the kind of guy you just want to hang out with. Like, I could see having a party and having, oh gosh, I couldn't really do that. As soon as they have over my favorite people, but if I pulled people offline that were my favorite, I'd end up with a backyard full. And it starts out with like 5 people that pop into your head, and then you just add from there. Wonderful people that I have met online. Oh, homeschooling is wonderful. Homeschooling is the best thing that ever happened to my kids, I can tell you that. Well, friends of mine, I think I am going to close down and finish my last 2 swallows here. I don't know what's been up with me. The last 2 nights I cannot sleep. Can't sleep for nothing. And it's usually the full moon that keeps me from sleeping, but it hasn't even been a full moon. So I don't know what my problem is, but I've been dragging really, really bad. And it seems like everybody is. Seems like everybody is having a hard time right now. Everybody's kind of depressed and kind of feeling tired, and just no one feels motivated to do anything. Everybody's just kind of down on themselves, feeling down about everything lately. Oh, speaking of, though, and things that I'm no longer feeling down about, yesterday I had 2 robins in my yard, which I like had a full on little party in my kitchen because I was so excited. Robins means springtime, and next Saturday is the equinox, and I'm having a big dinner, and I'm having some people over, and we're having a bonfire, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. If you all didn't know, Crow 777 in his last show, if you look him up online, I'll leave a link in the description when this gets posted. His last show was about how the equinoxes aren't equal. So I haven't heard anybody talk about that until I did. But as soon as I started talking about it, he started talking about it, which made me really excited because that guy knows his stuff. So if there's anything going to come out of that that's good, he's probably going to find it. So you should head over there, and I'll tell you what, that it's $5 a month for a subscription to his channel. For the last hour, he does a 2-hour thing every week. The first hour is free on YouTube or his website, and the second hour you have to be a member for. But I mean, it's $5, and it's so worth it in my opinion. I learned so much from him. I love Crow 777. He was the first person to ever capture the lunar wave. And he captured it on an equinox. He captured it on the autumn equinox. And so he's got himself and all kinds of his people that are going to try to film a lunar wave this equinox, which is actually interesting because there is a new moon. So they're talking about in this thing that he did that you can go to his channel and see from this week. They're talking about how you can get these apps for your phone that you just point at the sky and it tells you what's there. So if the new moon is in a phase where it's closer to the sun and you can't see it, not necessarily because the sun is backlighting it, but because its light is out. But if a lunar wave happens, if they they postulate that the sun and moon might actually be literally passing through some kind of gate. And that might be what the wave is and why it goes right down. I mean, it's really incredible. If you haven't seen the footage of the lunar wave, you have to look it up. I think it was September 2012 that he captured a lunar wave. It's incredible. It's so neat. But they're going to try to capture a lunar wave on a new moon, which I think is really interesting. So hopefully they see something. I mean, that would be really interesting. I don't even know what that would prove, but it would be different. It would be something unaccomplished thus far, to actually capture something on a new moon. But the shift is what some are calling what's coming up. I've been hearing about a shift coming for years and years and years, and I think that it's been slowly happening over these years. I think that the end of the Mayan calendar was a real thing. I think that something actually happened with our consciousness at that time. I do think it changed us. I think something happened. And Crow 777 says that it's his opinion that we came into the age of Aquarius in the end of the 1800s. I think it's like 1881 that he speculates, but I don't remember. I didn't write it down. But I feel like we're in the age of Aquarius. I feel like that we are enlightening. We're moving forward in such a way that it's almost impossible that the ages haven't switched, because we're not going into the darkness. We're not spiraling into the darkness like other people are. We are fighting for the light because we see it. And I think that that is the sign of Aquarius, is that we're seeing the light and trying to reach it. Dana DeGraw agrees. It's already happening. See? It has to be happening. And my kids are amazing. My kids were born amazing. When my kids were little, they're 2 years apart, 2 years and 4 months apart. So when they were little, they were like 3 and 5. And we used to have that game Memory with all the little cards with all the different pictures on them, and you lay them out face down, and then you look at them. You pick 2 at a time, and if you don't get a match, it's the other person's turn. And if you do get a match, you keep the match, and then you get to pick again. And you try to remember where you saw certain cards so you can remember where your matches are. Well, my husband taught my kids to look through the cards. And he would tell them, put your goggles on, and they would do this and look through the cards, and they'd put their heads down and they would scan across the cards, and they would pick. The youngest was like prodigy level. He would like pick 6, 8 matches in a row and make his brother all mad, and I don't want to play anymore, and he would go have a fit, and they would shuffle the cards and lay them back down, and then Kyle would just look through the cards again, and he could do this kind of stuff. It was incredible. My kids have always been like that. This one day, well, there was this store near where we live. Oh, my lamp's not plugged in. There was this store that was like a gosh, it's almost like a head shop, but it's not a head shop. It wasn't a pots place. It was incense and crystals and books and esoteric things, an occult shop, I suppose is what it would be called. And I was looking for a certain couple set of crystals, and my kids and I walked in, and they were still little. They were like 3 and 5, 2 and 4 years old. And the 3 of us went walking in, and this guy, we were in there for a couple of minutes, and this guy kind of jumps out of the back room. He's looking around. He looks me right in the face, like he caught my eye, And he walks straight over to me and he's like, your energy is amazing. And I was like, thank you. Like, well, and he's like, and your children are crystal. And I'm like, crystal? And he's like, yeah, you have crystal children. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard of that before. And he's like, well, you've heard of indigo children, right? I'm like, well, yeah, I've heard of indigo before. I've never heard of crystal before. And he's like, well, crystal children are born from indigo children. And I'm like, well, these are my kids. And he's like, I know. And I was like, wait, I can't be. And he's like, oh, you definitely are. He's like, you walked in this place and I felt it. I came out to say who just came in. And I don't know this guy, you know. So you take it for what it's worth. It's like, well, okay, sure. I'd like to believe I'm something special. Who wouldn't? But at the same time, it's like I like to think that we all have the same things, the same abilities. I think that we're all here to help each other, you know. But my kids, it's easier for me to believe that I could be something special if my kids are something special, because my kids are nuts. They're nuts. The things that they know and the way that they manifest things, and they do it consciously because they were taught, because I know how. And I thought, well, why wouldn't you teach your kids that, you know? So it just, they know how. I have an artist and he draws pictures, and I swear that kid can draw a picture of damn near anything, and like 12 hours later it's showing up in his life form. It's like right there. That's his gift. That's his power. I taught him that young. Draw a picture of it. Put all your energy into it. Love it while you're drawing it. Stick it on your wall and think about how much you love it, because there it is. And people say, oh, that law of attraction, that's satanic, that's evil, that teaches you, you know, to be ego-centered and all about, you know, pleasing yourself. And I completely, totally disagree. I could not disagree more. I mean, yes, it can be used that way. I do know people that have vision boards with all the crap that they want. I was part of the groups where the people were all, oh, I need my ex back. My life will never be happy without my ex. So I have this vision board with all these pictures of my ex on it because that's what I need to manifest. But then there are people like me that found the law of attraction, and that was like the bridge between religion and just nothing. Like it brought it together, and it became more about me and my own personal growth. The more you grow and accept responsibility for your life, the more you accept your own power over your life, the more powerful you become, and the more you connect to the greater energy that is God, whatever it is. I hate that word. I hate the word God, because you say it and the immediate picture that pops into everybody's head is completely different no matter what. Some people are immediately against it, and some people are immediately for it, and some people see Jesus, and some people see Allah. And you know, I mean, it's so imprecise. So I don't like the word, but you say other words and that shuts people down too. Your higher power, your higher self. It's like these are all kind of you-centered. It seems ego-centered. You're talking to your higher self as though you're responsible for your creation, and you are, but you're not. And it's all, if anybody really can understand it enough to put it into words and prove their perspective, I'd love to see it, because I see people on Facebook all the time wanting you to prove God to them. And my favorite thing to tell them is that no one can ever prove God to you. God is something that you can only prove to yourself. It is only something that you can say, okay, if there's a God, show yourself. Ask. Because it'll show itself to you and you'll be like, oh, maybe I should watch what I say. But yeah, no one can prove it to you. No one can show you it's there. No one can relay their experience to you because you didn't experience it. So it won't mean anything to you. It won't mean as much to you. It's very personal, the relationship that you have with that which is around you, that which creates that energy. But you can use it to burn down a building, or you can use it to warm your kitchen. I mean, even says so in the Bible. It says, I, the Lord, create light and the darkness. I create the good and the evil. I do all of these things. And it's because it's a pretty unbiased energy. And that's why they try to keep it hidden from us, because they're using it against us. They're using it for nefarious things when it's not necessarily not supposed to be used for that, but it certainly won't further you to use it that way. You need to use it to find yourself. It's in here. The kingdom's inside. It's where God is. It's where God talks to you from. It's where you create from. It's really, really, really intense when you get into it, but you have to be interested and you have to be seeking it. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will open. But if you just stand outside the door denying that there's anything inside, it's not going to show itself to you. But that's just my humble opinion. Anyway, I said I was going to go and then I didn't. Then you made me talk. Color balls. Oh, like you would visualize color balls and throw them, and then the person that you were throwing them at would guess what color they were as they were coming toward them. That is really, really cool. That is really awesome. I might try something like that. We've kind of gotten away from those things. It's not a game anymore here. I mean, Kevin moved out. He's 18 now. He lives with his girlfriend. He works full time. He's got his own life, and we don't have, we don't entertain the kids the way we used to. That was how we entertained the kids, and now the kids kind of do their own thing. So, but that's a neat game. I might try that with my husband. We have ESP cards that have what, a triangle and a square and a circle and a star and a cross, I think. There's five shapes and five of each shape. And my husband is so freaking amazing. My husband, I will take these cards and I can hold them behind stuff. He's not seeing them. I don't wear glasses. There's no reflection. He's not seeing them because the number that he can guess if someone else is holding them is different. He guesses a lot, but there's fewer. But when I'm looking at these cards, out of 25, I've never seen him get all 25, but I've seen him get 24 out of 25. And usually out of 25, he gets 20 to 22. I mean, that's beyond coincidence. It's beyond coincidence. So I don't know, he's pretty intense. We used to, back 20 years ago when we first got together, we used to play with decks of cards, play cards together, and then we would sit and do the black or red. And he can go through black, 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 red, and just guess them all. Who does that? Not me. I'm not good at that. But if you want to know something really obscure and weird, I can ask a random question and then take a nap, and I will dream the answer. And when I wake up, I know what the answer is. It's like so many people, you you can't expect your connection to God to be the same as someone else's. You can't expect to go to church and have a preacher tell you this is how you talk to God. Because I just really don't think it works that way. I think that you have to feel it. It's gotta be here for you. And when I go out and stand in the middle of the woods and talk out loud, like there's something like it's there with me. It's in the air when I'm outside and I talk to it and it hears me. When I meditate, it hears me. And when I dream, I hear it. It speaks to me in return in a way that I get it. I don't miss it. When I wake up and I'm like, what was that? I don't blow it off and go about my day. I'm like, what was that? What did that mean? And then it slowly shows itself to me as the time goes on, you know. We we all have this connection, this amazing, wonderful connection, and we really have to find it. You really have to find peace. You got to shut your mind up, quit all the talking, because all the talking that happens up here has to do with what's out here. And as long as you're focusing on out here, you're never gonna shut down and hear what's talking to you. You know, it's like you can't hear a whisper if you don't shut up. You'll never hear it over your own voice. You have to shut your own voice up so the whisper can get through. If it has whiskers, I hope it's a cat, a cute one. Nature is where I feel spirit the most. Me too. Absolutely, Dana. I mean, oh, I have a bucket that I use to sit on out in the woods because it gets muddy out there and I can't always sit on the ground. And I keep a bucket. It sits next to a tree. So I always have something I can sit on because I can't just walk through. I have to walk through and then I have to stop and I have to sit. And sometimes I just have to breathe the air. I feel like it was put there for me, not the bucket that was put there for me by me. But the nature around me, I feel like it's here for me to experience, to enjoy, to love, to connect with. You know, I mean, nature is so important to me. I have cabin fever so bad right now. I'm so excited about the robins because I know that the snow is going to be melting really soon. And my birthday is in less than a month. And that's usually when the last of the snow starts to go away, is the beginning of April. And I can start putting my feet in the grass again and sun gazing more regularly, actually get out there and be able to put my feet in the dirt to do it. And I spend all my time outside. It's actually a joke in my house that I have a pair of flip-flops that live under the driver's seat of my van because I spend so much of my time in my bare feet that I leave the house all the time and I'll get halfway to where I'm going and I'm like, shit, I never put shoes on. Because it's so unnatural to me. It's so unnatural how disconnected we are from the ground. Everything disconnects us from the ground. Our sneakers put a rubber barrier between us and the ground, and our houses are up off the ground, and our cars are off the ground, and we never are on the ground. We don't touch the ground. That is so telling to me. Like, there's an agenda there. There's a definite agenda there. But then they start proving that you literally ground yourself when you touch the ground, and all that excess energy out your feet. It's so good for you. It's so good for your rhythms and your body. And we're discouraged from doing it. We're told about germs and microbes in the dirt that are going to get you. You're going to get parasites and oh, it's so yuck. It's so yuck. And I spend all my time in my bare feet. I'm wearing fuzzy socks. I can't wear shoes. I can handle socks, and I have to because I freeze in the winter. I'm so cold, and I'll double up my socks just to have the insulation around my feet. And as soon as I'm capable of bare feet, all over in the bare feet, in the dirt, in the grass, outside, my husband's appalled. He's like, I can't believe you'll walk around by the chicken coop in your bare feet. And I'm like, well, it's not like I don't wash them. You'll do the same thing wearing your shoes and then come in the house and walk through the house, and that's not gross. You're leaving chicken shit everywhere too. I mean, it's not like I go out and step in giant piles of dog shit and then walk around leaving footy prints everywhere or something, but your shoes touch the same thing that my feet do, and then you walk around on the carpet and in the house too. Why is it more gross for me than it is for you? If anything, I'm less likely to step in poop just because I'm well aware that I'm in my bare feet and nobody wants to be scooping dog poop out from between their toes. That's not pleasant. And some chicken poop. Chickens will poop the size of a freaking golf ball. It's horrifying. They do. They are trying to detach us from natural rhythms. I think that that's part of why they lie about the equinox too. If I'm going to keep talking, I'm plugging this lamp in. Give me one sec here. It's getting so dark in here. And yet it's still lighter because we sprung ahead today. Is daylight savings time not the stupidest thing ever created in the world? Oh, let there be light. Daylight savings time this morning. So far, nobody in my house is aware of it as far as I know. I was up before everybody and I changed all the clocks and I wanted to see if any of them noticed that time felt weird today because it always feels weird to me. I woke up this morning and I looked at the alarm clock, which isn't an alarm clock, it's just a clock in my bedroom, but I looked at the time and I was like, is it that time? It feels weird. And I laid there contemplating that time felt weird. No reason, no rhyme, just it felt weird. And then I reached over and picked up my cell phone and turned that on and it had a different time. And I was like, oh, daylight savings time. That's why it feels weird. Like it's something that's in the air. Like, what is that? But I got up and I changed all the clocks in the house. No one mentioned it. No one said, did the clocks change today or noticed anything weird? No one. My alarm went off, my chicken alarm for the kid to go out and tuck the chicks, and it's usually dark. I have to reset that, but he hasn't come out and said anything about it not being dark yet, so I don't know. But yeah, we changed the clocks. And what's even stupider is that here in the United States, I don't know about anywhere other than the United States, but here in the United States, there are places that don't recognize daylight savings time. So like over in Arizona, I don't know if it's the whole state or just part of the state, but I know over in Arizona, they don't recognize daylight savings time. So they were 3 hours behind me, or they were 2 hours behind me, another 3 hours behind me. And then they'll go back to 2 when we fall back in the fall. Like, how stupid is that, that our whole country doesn't even recognize this thing? And how many of us have to disagree with it before we decide as a state to not do this? Because this is the stupidest shit ever. It's so stupid. And of course, all over Facebook today, I'm seeing the ancient Indian, or it's not ancient, it's an Indian saying that is only a white man could cut an inch off a blanket, an inch off the top of the blanket and sew it to the bottom and consider the blanket longer, which for real, that's what we do. And it's like, and everybody complains about it, but we all just do it. Where's the comment cards for this shit where you're like, this is dumb, sign your name and drop it in the little slot in the box to tell the establishment that you guys are stupid. Oh my God. You know, Dana says she's been kicked out of stores for being barefoot. I don't go in stores barefoot, but it's for myself. I have been walking through Walmart and bent down to pick up a shard of glass that was on the floor. That somebody must have dropped something and it shattered and one piece must have went further away and it didn't get swept up. And I'm like, wow, there's a piece of glass here on the floor. And, you know, it's not my job to pick it up, but I have little kids. Well, I've had little kids running around and you don't want somebody's 2-year-old to bend down and pick up a shard of glass. So I picked it up. And I don't trust other people. Other people do shit. They throw things on the floor. They don't care about things. So Yeah, I'm all about my flip-flops when I leave the house, but on my own property, see, I don't even allow smoking on my property. You're not allowed to smoke on my property. There's a sign at the end of my driveway that says no smoking because people will come here and it's summer and my windows are open and they're standing in my driveway smoking cigarettes and it's like this blowing right in my bedroom. I don't want that in my bedroom. You want to smoke? Get off my property. Go to your house. Go sit in your car out in the road. Go where I don't have to smell it. I smoked for 15 years. I decided to quit. I don't want to smell your smoke anymore. So, but in other places, I could very well potentially step on a cigarette butt because people fling their cigarettes like it's not littering. Like it's not a piece of fiberglass that some fucking bird is going to pick up and choke on. Oh, that irritates me so bad. Are the people that open their cigarettes and fling the cellophane out the window like it's meaningless. It's not meaningless. You're throwing trash on the ground. That infuriates me. It fucking litter bugs infuriate me. Don't throw your cigarette butts on the floor. It's disgusting. It's gross. And don't throw your trash on the ground. You don't finish drinking a bottle of something and just throw it out the window. And if you do, you're a piece of shit. But that wouldn't be okay. So why is a smaller piece of plastic okay? And that's what a cigarette butt is. It's just a smaller piece of plastic that you're just flinging out into the environment to poison the wildlife and ruin shit. I mean, grow the fuck up. Pick your shit up. Be responsible for yourself and your actions. Be accountable for yourself. Don't just think the rest of the world owes you something. Fucking birds don't owe you nothing. They don't need to swoop down and eat your fucking trash. Don't be a douche. This has been a public service announcement. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. See, now you did it. You triggered me. Way to go, Sandra. Here it comes. People don't pick up their dog shit, piss me off. You know what else pisses me off? I live in the middle of fucking Amish country. If I don't pick up my dog shit off the side of the road, I can get a $500 fine. Why don't the Amish have to stop and pick up the giant pile of horse shit that is left in the middle of the road every time they drive by? I can't go walk down my freaking road, strap on my shoes and go for a walk because I gotta literally step over fucking horse shit in the middle of the road. How is that not the same thing? How is that not the same thing? Dog poop, this big. Horse poop, this big. And in the middle of everything, I have horse poop on the bottom of my minivan because when I drive down the road, if I can't miss it, I have to drive through it. How is this not a law? How is there not something about this? Oh my God, I'm so triggered right now. I'm sorry. Oh my God. It really, this one time, oh my God. It's a terrible story, but it was hilarious when I watched it happen. So we had this yard sale. We're out in the country. We're out here. So when you have a yard sale and people actually stop, it's a miracle in itself. So we've got this yard sale and this freaking Amish buggy pulls in. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So they pull up, they get out, they walk around our stuff, look at whatever, get back in their buggy. And as they're going to the end of the driveway, they're not even out of my driveway. They're getting to the end of the driveway. They're about to pull on the road. And this horse shits everywhere at the end of the driveway. And my husband immediately triggered, and he's the kind of guy that has shovels laying about here and there because he's always shoveling something or working on something or doing something. Grabs a shovel, runs to the end of the driveway, and before they even got very far away, he scooped shit up and threw it at them and yelled, "Clean up your fucking shit!" He was furious, and I was too. It's like, you just filled my driveway with shit. Seriously? That is so not nice. That's so rude. It's beyond rude. Like, Amish people drive me crazy. Amish people piss me off. And people think I'm an asshole because I freaking hate the Amish. I hate them. I don't hate them. I'm not swerving at them or anything, but I'm like, why why do the Amish not have to pay any property taxes? Why don't they have to pay for property taxes that helps fix the road when half of the grooves that are left in the road are from their friggin' tires? Why are their horses allowed to shit everywhere when my dog is not allowed to shit anywhere? Why don't they have to pay tax when they go to the same store that I do? And why can they go to the same store that I do? They go into Walmart, they get cases of pop, they buy the cheapest, most generic freaking Walmart brand flour and salt and all of these ingredients. They go home, they cook it in a wood stove oven, and then they sell it for 3 times the normal going price and call it an Amish baked good. And then they don't pay tax on what they freaking sell. I mean, seriously, this is the most screwed up, backwards thing ever. I hate the Amish. I hate them. They don't have to participate in school. They don't have to participate in taxes or anything like that. They don't have to, they're not held to the same standard that the entire rest of the population is. And they screw the system because of it. And it's entirely it's it pisses me off. In case you didn't notice, it really pisses me off. But people are using the Amish as a proof that vaccination causes autism and cancer, which I think is kind of funny because around here, I live in like one of the biggest, most dirt baggy areas in the world. The only reason we live here is because it's near an interstate and my husband's work is on the interstate. And so this is the perfect location. It's a perfect location for us. But there's not a lot of jobs around here. There's not a lot of stuff. Most of the people that live around here are on the system. They're on welfare and they're dealing with the system. And these Amish fit in. They really do. The Amish are coming over to our system. You buy Amish chicken. Ha! Okay, hold up. Let me scroll. Let me scroll up. Okay. Yes, you would think that they would if they bother with dog poop, but they don't. Nobody cares except for me, apparently. And when I start, oh my God, the people that know me, when I start this, because this is something I've done before. Nobody's new, and they're like, "Oh, nice going, nice going, everybody." Chill. You got like 15 minutes before she's done. It infuriates me. And the mounted police, yes, the police don't have to pick up their poop, but if you're walking your dog, you get a fine. Another case of the police being right and you being wrong, right? Collect it to fertilize my plants. Well, I could, but I have a yard full of chicken poop. I really don't need the extra fertilizer. Clean up your fertilizer, take it with you. It stinks, right? um, I know the Amish do have good food, and it's not all Amish. I don't live in the only Amish area in the world. There are Amish that do still grow their own food. And then, yeah, if you thought they grew their own food, they don't. Not all of them, not anymore. And actually, around here, something that people do for extra money is drive Amish around because the Amish can't drive, obviously. And so they need the trip to Walmart, and they're not going to take their horse and buggy 12 miles through traffic to Walmart. So they catch a ride. And that's what a lot of people do around here for extra money. Take the Amish, which you have to really be dedicated to making that extra money because Amish people bathe like every 2 weeks. They reek, they stink, they're disgusting. It's really gross. Like they spend 80% of their time in a barn and then they don't bathe. They are so unclean. It's really, really, really gross. And I hate to sound judgmental about it because I'm not. Like to each their own. If that's how you live and your husband slash wife, whatever, is happy with you climbing into bed with them smelling like that, whatever. Far be it from me to have an opinion about your personal life. Seriously, I don't care. But when you're driving them around, the whole inside of your vehicle smells like the most rotten BO ever. And now the ones that are around here have started buying cell phones. It's a loophole in their little thing. They're like, we'll get these cell phones, we'll plug them into the vehicles that drive us around. So we'll get where we need to go. We'll buy cheap food. We'll sell it at an inflated price and we'll charge our phone all at the same time without actually breaking any of our own supposed moral codes, which is genius. It really is. And, there's this episode of Drop Dead Diva. I don't know if anybody has ever watched this series. It's actually kind of funny and I enjoyed it personally. But there's this episode of Drop Dead Diva that really infuriates me because it's about Amish people. And this Amish man comes to her because his daughter needs these expensive medical treatments, and her illness is caused by the fracking that's happening near their land. And they agreed to allow the fracking to happen because, they were told that it wouldn't make anybody sick. But now that people are getting sick, they want the fracking company, the oil company, to accept responsibility on their own without being sued and pay for little Rebecca's treatments. And the oil company's like, yeah, which that's exactly what would happen. But the Amish can't sue. They don't sue. They don't believe in lawsuits. They don't believe in that. So he's like, well, if they don't agree on their own, there's nothing I can do. And she's all, well, I could sue them for you and we'll figure this out and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I can't do it. I can't be involved. It goes against everything I believe in. Well, then someone else shows up who's willing to sue on their behalf and give them the money when they're done. And suddenly this Amish guy is completely on board with this. And it's like, is that morally wrong or not? If it's morally wrong to sue, then you can't let someone else do it in your stead and have that not be the same as you doing it. But it's this loophole, which isn't. It's a loophole in a law. But you're not dealing with law. You're dealing with your own personal ethics, what you believe is right or not. So do you believe that it's right, or do you believe that it's not? So you either believe that technology is completely 100% evil and leading you down a bad path, or you believe it has some good uses to it, which I do. I think technology is completely out of control and leading us down a bad path. But I do know that there are people like us who are discussing the truth. We're using technology to talk about the truth, and we're using technology to wake up other people. So, clearly technology isn't the devil, but I'm not standing here preaching that technology is the devil while I'm on YouTube using it. You can't. You got to have some integrity in what you're saying. You have to have some integrity inside of yourself and have what you think in your head and what comes out of your mouth. They have to match in some way. Otherwise, you're asking for it. And Sarah, I'm in Ohio too. That's really awesome. You're near Cincinnati. I'm north. I'm up in Ashtabula County. You're a couple hours away, but fairly close. Yeah, that is like it's like Pennsylvania Dutch, but it's you kind of crosses the line because they don't care about state lines. But it really is the whole system that they are. Just pay your taxes. Pay your taxes like everybody else. Be responsible for yourself in the way that everybody else is, and stop trying to get something for free. But going back to the whole people using the Amish as an example of vaccines causing autism, that is going to be funny very, very shortly, because both of my children, which are now 18 and 16, so it's been a while. It's been almost 2 decades since I was in that doctor's office. When I was in that doctor's office, every single appointment I had, there was always at least 2 Amish girls in that doctor's office that were pregnant. So the Amish in this area are starting to go to regular obstetricians, and they are going to start getting these vaccinations. They're going to start with the medical system because they're blurring the lines. They're wanting to catch up. The devil's got a hold of them. The devil in this technology that's like, look at all this stuff. It makes me wonder, honestly, how many 16-year-old Amish boys are watching porn on their cell phone. We are no longer the white devils of the world. It's like, no, you people are all catching up too. You're all starting to go down the same path when you had the choice. You not only had the choice, but you had the whole system set up to support you in not going down this path. The whole system is set up to support the Amish. They don't have to pay taxes. They can have their own land. They can school their own kids. They don't have to deal with our government or our police or anything. They don't have to deal with us at all. It's like we set it up because we were willing to completely work around them and their faith and their beliefs. And now they're starting to blur these lines and they are starting to come into this technological age. And as much as that's probably a good thing for them, to some degree, it's also a bad thing. I think that they were probably better off on the path that they were on. I mean, they went home to no lights and they sat by fires and they talked to their family, and before you know it, they're gonna have their faces in the same phones that we do. It drives me nuts walking through Walmart and being elbow to elbow with Amish people though. It's like, isn't half of their deal supposed to be growing their own food? I don't think they grow anything anymore. And I tell you what, one of the most appalling things was seeing an Amish cart full of Mountain Dew. I'm like, this is not really happening. But it's what they do. They're coming over to the dark side, literally. It's awful. They're already outside and they could have just stayed further outside. Now we're trying to get out while they're trying to get in. Oh, yeah, they're plugging cell phones into these cars that drive them around now. And the state of Ohio, at least, I don't know, I don't think it's a federal thing. I don't think they can make a federal law like that, but I know our state itself has made it illegal for the Amish to have homesteads without sewer, without septic systems, which is kind of bullshit. It's kind of messed up that I'm required by law to have a $25,000 septic system put on my property. If I want to dig a hole and poop in an outhouse, I should be allowed to do that. But that's just another part of that system. I mean, we started out talking about justice. What kind of justice is it when you can't even poop the way you want to on your own property? It seems messed up. I mean, they don't want electricity run in, they don't want phone lines run in. Why would they want a septic line run in? What could be the possible reason to require that of somebody on their own property? I mean, it's their property. You're not infecting anybody else. It's not like you're going and taking a dump on the neighbor's front lawn. I don't see, but that's what our government does. I mean, everything in everything, and they're taking liberties that are not theirs to take. It's stupid. I can't knock a wall down inside my own house. I can't make a room bigger. I can't figure out which are the load bearing walls, knock down a wall and make a room bigger without getting an okay from my government first, even though I technically, supposedly, own the house and the property and I pay my taxes every year. This is my space. And we don't even have zoning laws. But you can't go knocking walls down in your own damn place of residence without letting the government know first. You have to get these permits and shit because they have to know that you're doing it okay. Like, you're going to go sue your government if you knock your wall down, your house falls in, and I'm going to be like, well, that's it, I'm suing the township. Those assholes got me for the last time. My living room fell in and I'm going to sue. It makes no sense. It's completely stupid. Anyway, okay, you made me babble for like 45 minutes longer, and it is coming up to the 8 o'clock hour, so I am going to go. I try to keep these under 2 hours, and I did it all by myself, but you know what? I talked your ear off, and sorry about that. And yes, Sarah, I think your Amish are similar to mine, because I think they're mostly out of Pennsylvania, like the whole eastern edge of Pennsylvania, or western edge of Pennsylvania is eastern Ohio, and I think that they're kind of moving out. I think that they're mostly sawmills, right? So I think that they're like running out of forestry and they're moving westerly, I think. But I heard some people in Colorado talking about Colorado Amish. I had no idea there was such a thing, Colorado Amish, but there is. So I don't know. I wonder if they're in every state, a little bit here and a little bit there. I just know they couldn't be more inbred. It's terrifying. Oh. I mean, these little tiny communities where they marry amongst each other for 50 years at a time. It's Uncle Dad, that's not cool. That doesn't purify the gene pool very much. But okay, well, it's been nice talking to you all. Oh, I saw the word turpentine. Where'd it go? Oh, Sarah. If you're not here next week, you died. That's hilarious. Are you starting it tomorrow like you've started it tomorrow every day so far? I hope you're not. I hope you actually do it. I'm so dying to hear about it. Keep me updated. Keep my email address in your contacts. And in the meantime, I will talk to you all later. It was nice hanging out, even if I talked to myself out loud. It's only weird because everybody that watches this later is like, who the hell are these people she's talking to? But anyway, love to you all. I hope you all have a great week. Don't forget, check what time your solstice is. It's not the day they say. Check what time it is. Find what day is equal day and night for you. There's something special to it. There's some kind of special energy in there, and you'll want to take advantage of it. Spend a little time in nature. Go out in the trees, put your feet in the grass if you can. Spend a little time in prayer, spend some meditation. There's something special about it. If there wasn't something special, they wouldn't hide it from us. So find out when your actual equal days are and take advantage of it. Do something. Try to be close to your creator because he wants to be close to you as far as I can tell. I love you all. Catch you next week. Bye.